Hey everyone, this video starts out a little bit more seriously than normal. Um, Remember when I said I wanted to be able to read aloud as well as Dr. Obi-Wan? Well, I might not ever be as good of her as her at reading aloud, um, but I believe that if I am a contender like my cousin Jay, I will be better than I am. And I'm okay with not being as good as her in reading aloud. But just like Augie in the book Wonder is a contender, my cousin Jay is a contender. He's been fighting cancer for 7 years now and was just sent home to the hospital, from the hospital, and was given days or weeks to live. He woke up this morning and posted that he's still alive, which I'm very thankful for. Um, and you can watch a video from K2 News about Damian Lillard calling him. It'll be in the description below. Uh, but I dedicate this episode of Books with Goats to Jay. And if this channel is able to get 1,000 subscribers, it will be monetized, which means I can make money from it. And if that happens, I will give half of the money to Jay's family and the other half to my new school. Um, yeah, so love you, Jay, and I'm praying for you. And enjoy this time with your family. And here is the next episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Books with Goats. We are getting closer to the end of the book Wonder. I might read a little bit longer than I did last time because uh, we have a little extra time and no special guests today. Just a regular Books with Goats. That's going to get eaten, I bet.
Yep.
All right, page 254. Yep, she nodded, smiling. 3 days and 2 nights. She zipped up the duffel bag and picked it up. Not too heavy. Try it. I picked up the bag. Fine, I shrugged. She sat on the bed. Hey, what happened to your Empire Strikes Back poster? Oh, I took that down ages ago, I answered. She shook her head. Huh? I didn't notice that before. I'm trying to, change my image a bit, I explained. Okay, she smiled, nodding, like she understood. Anyway, honey, you have to promise me that you won't forget to put on the bug spray, okay? On the legs, especially when you're hiking through the woods. That's right here in the front compartment. Uh huh. And put on your sunscreen, she said. You don't want to get sunburn. And don't, I repeat, do not forget to take your hearing aids off if you go swimming. Would I get electrocuted? No, but you'd be in real hot water with Daddy because those things cost a fortune. She laughed. I put the rain poncho in the front compartment too. Same thing goes if it rains, Augie. In the front compartment, make sure that you cover the hearing aids with the. Hey, let go. With the hood. Aye, aye, sir, I said, smiling and saluting. She smiled and pulled me over. I can't believe how much you've grown this year, Augie, she said, softly putting her hands on the sides of my face. Do I look taller? Definitely, she nodded. I'm still the shortest one in my grade. I'm not really even talking about your height, she said. Suppose I hate it here. There. You're gonna have a great time, Augie. I nodded. She got up and gave me a quick kiss on the forehead. Okay, so I say we get to bed now. It's only 9 o'clock, Mom. Your bus leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow. You don't want to be late. Come on, chop chop. Your teeth are brushed. I noticed and climbed into bed. She started to lie down next to me. You don't need to put me to bed tonight, Mom, I said. I'll read on my own till I get sleepy. Really? She nodded, impressed. She squeezed my hand and gave it a kiss. Okay then, good night, love. Have sweet dreams. You too. She turned on the little reading light beside the bed. I'll write you letters, I said as she was leaving, even though I'll probably be home before you guys even get them. Then we can read them together, she said, and threw me a kiss. When she left the room, I took my copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe off the night table and started reading until I fell asleep. Though the witch knew the deep magic, there is a magic deeper still which she did not know. Her knowledge goes back only to the dawn of time. But if she could have looked a little farther back into the stillness and darkness before time dawned, she would have read there a different incantation. That's from Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's a great book if you haven't read it. Daybreak. The next day, that's Billy. He is getting his bum clean because, as you heard in the previous episode, it was quite dirty. It's going to be much better now. He doesn't love getting it brushed off, though. The next day, I woke up really early. It was still dark inside, my room even darker outside, though I knew it would be a morning soon. I turned over on my side, but didn't feel at all sleepy. That's when I saw Daisy sitting near my bed. I mean, I knew it wasn't Daisy for a second. I saw a shadow that looked like her. I didn't think it was a dream then, but now, looking back, I know it must have been. It didn't make me sad to see her at all. It just filled me up with nice feelings inside. She was gone after a second, and I couldn't see her again in the darkness. The room slowly started getting lighter. I reached for my hearing aid headband and put it on, and now the world was really awake. I could hear the garbage trucks clunking down the street and the birds in our backyard, and down the hall I heard Mom's alarm beeping. Daisy's ghost made me feel super strong inside, knowing wherever I am, she'd be there with me. I got up out of bed and went to my desk and wrote a little note to my mom. Then I went into the living room where my packed bag was by the door. I opened it up and fished inside until I found what I was looking for. I took Babu back to my room and I laid him in my bed and taped my little note to Mom on his chest. And then I covered him with my blanket so Mom would find him later. The note read, "Dear Mom, I won't need Babu, but if you miss me, you can cuddle with him yourself. XO Augie." Day 1. The bus ride went really fast. I sat by the window and Jack was next to me in the aisle seat. Summer and Maya were in front of us. Everyone was in a good mood. Kind of loud, laughing a lot. I noticed right away that Julian wasn't on the bus, even though Henry and Miles were. I figured he must be on the other bus, but then I overheard Miles tell Amos that Julian ditched the grade trip because he thought the whole nature retreat thing was quote-unquote dorky. I got totally pumped because dealing with Julian for 3 days in a row and 2 nights was a major reason that I was nervous about this whole trip. So now, without him there, I could really just relax and not worry about anything. We got to the nature reserve at around noon. The first thing we did was put our stuff down in the cabins. There were 3 bunk beds to every room, and me and Jack did rock, paper, scissors for the top bunk, and I won. Woohoo! The other guys in the room were Reed and Tristan and Pablo and Nino. After we had lunch in the main cabin, we all went on a 2-hour guided nature hike through the woods. But these were not real woods like the kind we have in Central Park. These were real woods, giant trees and almost totally blocked out the sunlight. Tangles of leaves and fallen tree trunks, howls and chirps, and really loud bird calls. There was a slight fog, too, like a pale blue smoke all around us. So cool. The nature guide pointed everything out to us, the different types of trees we were passing, the insects inside dead logs on the trees, the signs of deer and bears in the woods. Hey, you're ripping my jacket. On the trail, and signs of deer and bears in the woods, what types of birds were whistling, and where to look for them. I realized that my Lobot hearing aid was actually made me hear better than most people because I was usually the first person to hear a new bird call. It started to rain and we headed back to camp. You want to come on my lap? Come here, Corey.
Billy's hiding.
That seems awkward, but we're going with it. Everyone got soaked. It was fun, though. We had a wet sock fight in the cabin. Since it rained for the rest of the day, we spent most of the afternoon goofing off in the rec room. They had a ping pong. I can't take 2 goats on my lap. I don't think it's big enough.
He just read it.
Goofing off in the rec room. They had a ping pong table and an old style arcade game like Pac-Man and Missile Command that we played until dinner time. Luckily, by then, it had stopped raining, so we got to have a real campfire cookout. The log benches around the campfire were still a little damp, but we threw our jackets over them and hung out by the fire, toasting s'mores and eating the best roasted hot dogs I've ever had, ever tasted. Mom was right about the mosquitoes. There were tons of them, but luckily I had spritzed myself before I left the cabin and wasn't eaten alive like some of the other kids were. I loved hanging out by the campfire after dark. I loved the way bits of fire dust would float up and disappear into the night air, and how the fire lit up people's faces. I loved the sound the fire made, too, and how the woods were so dark that you couldn't see anything around you. And you'd look up and see a billion stars in the sky. The sky doesn't look like that in North River Heights. I'd seen it look like that in Montauk, though, like someone sprinkled salt on a shiny black table. I was so tired when I got back to the cabin that I didn't need to pull out the book to read. I fell asleep almost as fast as my head hit the pillow. And maybe I dreamed about the stars, I don't know. The fairgrounds. The next day was as great as the first day. We went horseback riding in the morning, and in the afternoon we rappelled up some ginormous trees with the help of nature guides. By the time we got back to the cabins for dinner, we were really tired again. After dinner, they told us we had an hour to rest, and then we were going to take a 15-minute bus ride to the fairgrounds for an outdoor movie night. I hadn't had the chance to write a letter to Mom and Dad and Via yet, so I wrote one telling them all about the stuff we did that day and the day before. I pictured myself reading it to them out loud when I got back, since there was no way the letter would get home before I did. When we got to the fairgrounds, the sun was just starting to set. It was about 7:30. The shadows were really long on the grass, and the clouds were pink and orange. It looked like someone had taken sidewalk chalk and smudged the colors across the sky with their fingers. It's not that I haven't seen the sunset before in the city, because I have slivers of sunsets between buildings, but I wasn't used to seeing so much sky in every direction. Hey, you're eating the camera.
Sorry?
Out here in the fairgrounds, I could understand why ancient people used to think the world was flat and the sky was a dome that closed in on top of it. That's what it looked like from the fairgrounds, in the middle of this huge open field. Because we were the first school to arrive, we got to run around in the field all we wanted until the teachers told us it was time to lay our sleeping bags on the ground and get good viewing seats. We unzipped our bags and laid them down like picnic blankets on the grass in front of the giant movie screen in the middle of the field. Then we went to a row of food trucks parked at the edge of the field to load up on snacks and sodas and stuff like that. There were concession stands there too, like a farmer's market, selling roasted peanuts and cotton candy, and up a little farther was a short row of carnival-type stalls, the kind where you can win a stuffed animal if you throw a baseball into a basket. Jack and I both tried and failed to win anything, but...
I don't know if you
Oh,
can see
he
that, but
fainted!
someone just fainted.
We'll try and move the camera so you can see the fainted goat.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Corey,
Just tripped and fainted.
poor boy, jumped off my lap and fainted on the ground.
I hope the
He'll get up in just a second. They don't last long.
There you go.
When the goats
doesn't hurt
faint,
them.
they don't lose consciousness and it doesn't hurt them. Their muscles just stiffen up and they
don't-
fall over.
They don't actually faint.
Yeah, so it's not full-on fainting like people do. Alright, back to the video. Let's see. By the time the other school buses pulled into the parking lots, we were back in our spots on the sleeping bags right smack in front of the screen. The best seats in the whole field. Everyone was passing around snacks and having a great time. Me and Jack and Summer and Reed and Maya played Pictionary. We could hear sounds of other schools arriving, loudly laughing and talking of kids coming out of the field on both sides of us. But we couldn't really see them. Though the sky was still light, the sun had gone down completely and everything on the ground had turned deep purple. The clouds were shadows now. We had trouble even seeing the Pictionary cards in front of us. Just then, without any announcement, all the lights at the ends of the fields went on at once. They were like big, bright stadium lights. I thought of the scene in Close Encounters when the alien ships lands and they're playing that music. Da da do da dun It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I don't know how it really goes. Sorry. Everyone in the field started applauding and cheering like something great had just happened. Next time, we will start with Be Kind to Nature. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to Books with Goats, Episode 5, and don't forget to like and subscribe.